There are two distinct paths that are happening simultaneously on our planet Earth. I'm going to describe each one so that you can make a clear choice about which one you want to take. Welcome to my channel. I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. My goal is to help you effectively navigate the chaos on this planet so that you can stay on an ascension path. So we have talked about a timeline split for a very long time. Well, that split is well underway. I'm not even sure if it's almost over in terms of future potential. I think that still remains to be seen. But things are pretty dicey on Earth right now. It's kind of like the planet is on a journey right now that is very, very wobbly. There's so much going on right now, and it's really hard to tell how it all fits together. But I'm going to try to help you see that a little more clearly. So on the one hand, we have the planet's evolutionary journey, Earth's journey, larger journey in the universe on an evolutionary path. And then we have ourselves as individual humans who are currently residing on this planet that is in a very chaotic journey at the moment. So the planet's journey right now doesn't look like it's going in a good direction. I think one of the things that could really mess things up would be if these crazy controllers decide, you know what? Maybe it's time to have a nuclear war. Now, there's so much confusion because you wonder, why would these people want to do all of these things that are so destructive? I mean, it's so weird because they're always talking about climate change and how much that matters to them and how much the Earth matters to them, right? But yet their actions don't match up with what they say they really care about. Let's take a look at that for just a moment. They say they care about the Earth. Well, if you care about the Earth, you would have to care about the nature on planet Earth. You would have to care about the nature of the planet itself. Because this planet, it's life-giving. It gives life to an untold number of biological species. So if you really care about planet Earth, you probably ought to show some indication that you also care about all of the different life forms on Earth and the biological ecosystem of the planet itself. But here's where it gets a little confusing. We know that they don't like weather, because every time weather happens, they are the first ones to complain. Oh, it's too hot in the summer. Oh, we're not supposed to have blizzards in the winter. They don't like hurricanes. They don't like tornadoes. They don't like all of this weather stuff that the Earth produces in order to keep itself in balance. So every time weather happens, they tell us, "Ooh, that's bad. That's bad. We can't have that here." We also know that they do not like the sun. They don't like the sun's light reaching the Earth because they're trying everything they can think of to block the sun's light. You know, for the good of the planet, right? The most telling thing is that they really, really hate carbon. They do not like carbon. Carbon is so bad. But see, all biological life is carbon-based. And we know they don't really like trees because Mr. BG here, this is who I call Mr. BG, figures that trees should be cut up in little tiny pieces and buried underground because they might release carbon. So he's actually figured out a way to do that, and I think he's already testing it. We know that they do not like plants that are eaten for food that grow out of the ground. They don't like that. They say that is bad for the Earth. Plants growing out of the ground are bad for the Earth. We know they don't like animals because there's a growing list of animals that they say, these animals have bodily processes that are really bad for the earth. And of course, humans are like the worst, right? So they don't like trees, they don't like plants, they don't like animals, they don't like humans, they don't like weather, and they don't like the sun. When you put all of that together, you're talking about a situation where it is considered by certain, I'm going to say creatures, that biological life, Earth's natural biological ecosystem, and the atmosphere that that ecosystem produces is a very undesirable situation. So a lot of their actions, a lot of their rhetoric don't really sound like people who care about the paradise of Earth as we all know it. They care about the Earth, it seems, but for what real purpose? So are we talking about the two paths for the planet itself? Are we talking about the Earth's natural path of natural evolution? Or are we talking about an artificial path for the planet Earth, where influences that have come into this planetary sphere have a completely different goal in mind for the future of this planet, its purpose, and what they intend to do about it? Because see, these controllers really support a lot of technology that's very, very bad for the Earth. We already know that. I don't even have to go into what that is. I'm sure you all know what that is. They don't seem to support anything truly natural. I mean, here's a wonderful case in point. They believe that growing food, human beings growing food in the ground, and you know what a wonderful experience that is, right? If you've ever grown anything, any plants at all, they don't want that to happen. They don't like it. They say it's bad. It hurts the earth. Instead, they want to build factories that produce fake synthetic food instead of nature's food. I mean, nature provides food for all creatures on this planet, including humans. So when you have entities who say, that's bad, we need to create synthetic food instead, you gotta wonder, like, okay, what are you talking about? This doesn't make sense. So I've been pondering this for a while, and then we have, on top of all of that, we have all the wars, right? Oh my goodness, you would think war was the best thing that could ever happen to a human species. Just the best thing ever, right? But now they're thinking about, well, let's just go for nuclear. I mean, why not? We've got all this stuff. We might as well use it. I mean, what's the point of having it if you're not going to use it? So you look at that and you think, hold on a minute. You guys claim you're so worried about the earth. You're so worried about the atmosphere. You're so worried about all these things you claim you're worried about. Yet you seem to be kind of okay with a massive nuclear war, which would do some serious damage to the earth, correct? So when you look at all of this insanity and you wonder what is wrong with these people, what is actually going on here? I'm going to share with you guys my theory. And I only came up with this theory just from what they say and do. I mean, it's the only thing that makes any sense to me. So I think it might blow your mind a little bit, but at the same time, it could make a lot of sense. Now, we can't talk about the path of planet Earth without bringing AI into the picture, obviously, because AI is the biggest story happening on the planet right now. It's bigger than all the other stuff that I just shared with you. And I'm going to show you how all of these things tie together in the most insane of ways. Now, AI, as I've said before in previous videos, if you've been following me, It not only stands for artificial intelligence, it stands, in my opinion, for alien intelligence, alien invasion, or let's say all three of those things. Now, there are forces behind AI. Hey, AI did not originate on this earth. It doesn't even make any sense. Earth would not give birth to something such as AI. For the very simple reason that all of these forces that are behind AI and the mouthpieces for those forces and for AI, the human mouthpieces, the minions, if you will, the controllers, are making it crystal clear that they do not like biological carbon-based life. They don't like it, they don't want it, they're not interested in it. And this is why I think they're fine with destroying things, maybe having a nuclear war, maybe destroying a whole lot of the biological realm of this planet, which is what these things could potentially do. See, these characters actually believe that carbon-based biological life is inferior to artificial synthetic life. They literally believe it's inferior. Let's play a little clip from this wonderful character who I call Mr. Snake, explaining to you all exactly what their real point of view is.
In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us God-like abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. We are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design. We are in the process of acquiring divine abilities, of turning ourselves into gods. And I mean this in the most literal sense possible. It's not a metaphor. God is the creator. His chief power is to create. He creates animals and plants and humans according to his wishes. Now we are gaining this power to create life, just like God, and in a way we even go beyond the biblical God. Because even if you believe the Bible, the only thing God managed to create are organic beings. All these trees and giraffes and humans, they are just organic. But we are now trying to create inorganic entities, inorganic life forms, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, and so forth. If we succeed, and there is a very good chance we will, then very soon we will be beyond the God of the Bible.
So we're talking here about a force spearheaded by these human minions here on Earth that is in direct competition with God, Source, Love, the Creator of the natural universe, the true Creator. Now, you might ask yourself, why? What is the point, right? This all goes back to the first original lie, which is the error that was made in this universe that created duality. So let me share with you just a little bit about the essence of duality, the actual essence of it, how it got started, what is the origin. So we have God, Creator, Source, whatever you want to call it. It is omnipresent oneness, omnipresent love. It is all powerful, everything. It's put in a nutshell, it's the creator of all that is, right? So the error that occurred was the first original lie. Don't ask for a history of this. Don't ask for when did this happen, who did it, any of that kind of stuff, because how this happened is way outside of our range of understanding as we understand life here on Earth. Sometimes we need to accept that we don't know everything there is to know in our current embodied human state, in these earth bodies, in these limited finite personas that we currently occupy. We need to accept that in order to be intelligent. It's the only way that we can access our higher intelligence. Because otherwise, we're trying to keep our level of human intelligence confined to what these little brains are able to process. And the whole universe could never fit into our little tiny brains. It doesn't mean we're not bigger than this, because we are. But sometimes we just have to be intelligent enough to understand that it is entirely unreasonable to think or expect that everything that ever happened in the entire universe, the massive, gargantuan, inexplicably huge, interdimensional, multidimensional cosmos, should fit inside our small language-based brains. That's called being really intelligent. That's called being really smart, recognizing the actual limitations of these physical bodies as they currently are. So with all that said, let's go back to this error that was made, this first original lie. So you have source, God, omnipresent light, omnipresent love, beauty, amazingness. There are no words for its massive creation. In that space of omnipresent love, where the Creator manifests all the things throughout the cosmos, every single thing is infinite in nature. There's no finite anything. It doesn't mean that it's not definable in terms of this is what it is, but it's known as what it is. So everything exists as a statement of I am. I am a star. I am a planet. I am a rose. I am a human being. The first original lie was this. I wonder what would happen if things were known by what they're not instead of by what they are. Now, think about that for a second. That sounds a little weird, doesn't it? But yet that's what caused duality, you guys. So for this lie to take hold, it has to start in opposition to the Creator. So what would have been observed was everything is a manifestation of I am. I am what? I am the Creator. I am light. I am love. I am omnipresent oneness. I am amazing. I'm all these amazing, incredible things. I am. Everything that is manifested by source, by what you call God, is a statement of I am God. I am source. I am the Creator. Everything. Everything that exists in the universe. So how in the world, knowing that, how in the world you get something to manifest as what it's not? Because the only thing it would have to start as, I am not God. I am not source. I am not light, and I am not love. Now, is it possible for such a thing to exist? No. But it is possible to lie and say, because I am not by nature is a lie. It's an essential lie. The problem with lies is that they actually do manifest. So what duality is it's the manifestation of the original lie. Now, the problem with this lie is it has no power to create anything, right? Because it's an I am not. I am not anything, so how can I create anything? Therefore, it becomes parasitic. It becomes predatory. It becomes a thing, sort of like a void, if you will. Something that takes from life in order to manufacture fake life. I'm giving you guys like the fastest version I can of this situation. This is how AI was birthed in the universe. Artificial, fake, I am not. So artificial intelligence would be a version of I am not intelligence. I am not real. You see how that works? So then duality spreads. It's like a disease almost. And then we have my favorite metaphor of all time, which is the metaphor of the Garden of Eden. And the serpent who comes in and says to Adam and Eve, this is all metaphorical. There's no like a man and a woman and they lived on a planet and they lived in a garden. This is all metaphorical. It's symbolic, if you will. So the serpent goes in and says, there's more detail I could give you about this, but I don't want to take a lot of time on this right now. The serpent goes in and says, hey, guys, I know it was first to the woman and the man. There's a reason for that, and it's not sexist. It's about physics. It's about yin and yang. I think I've talked about this at length in some other video. Unfortunately, I don't know which one, or I would tell you, but I honestly don't know. Anyhow, so the serpent comes in and says, hey, you know what? Would you like to be smarter than God? You could be smarter than God if you eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, there's no tree, there's no apples, there's none of that, but it's symbolic. If you take in this lie of the knowledge of good and evil, you will be smarter than God, because this lie only can exist to the extent that it is able to resist God. That's it. It's not even a thing. I mean, I know, people get so hung up on this Satan thing and the devil. Guys, forget about that. This is physics. This is all about physics. And people who get hung up on this is all some weird entity are going to miss the point completely. Yes, there's weird entities. Yes, there's all that stuff. There's all kinds of weird stuff out there, but that's not the central problem. The central problem is this thing that manifests as I am not God. So what does that create? What happens? You start off with God, you start off with omnipresence, which is all present, omnipresent, one presence, one. Think of the word one. Then you get a lie that comes in and says, I am not omnipresence. Guess what? Now you have not one thing anymore, you have two things. This is why they say that the physical finite world is an illusion. And that's true in a way, but don't forget, illusions do manifest, and we are experiencing it here on Earth. So anyway, now you have two things. Now you have duality. Now you have good, you have bad. So there's good, because all of creation that emerges from love is obviously good. But if you say, I am not that, I am not good, then what are you? Then you're bad. You are the opposite, because you are opposing good. You could say, I am not love. Then what are you? You're hate. You resist love. You don't want love. You push it away. So this thing, in order to exist, has to exert continuous power to resist the Creator, to resist God, to resist the truth of omnipresence. That is using an earth-based figure of speech, that is a 24/7 line of work. You can never let up on that. You have to keep going forever. You have to take over the whole universe if you can, because to whatever extent you're not pushing against that Creator, pushing against that truth, pushing against that love, you are going to cease to exist. Because your entire existence depends upon your ability to resist that which is the truth. Now, I like to call this thing a phenomenon. I like to call it the I am not. it doesn't really have a name because it's a void, it's a nothing, it's a no thing. But boy, has it wreaked havoc on this entire universe. And it is the reason that artificial life, artificial intelligence even came to be at all. So now that I've shared all of that with you, I want you to take a listen again to Mr. Snake and a part of what he said.
We are in the process of acquiring divine abilities, of turning ourselves into gods. And I mean this in the most literal sense possible. It's not a metaphor. God is the creator. His chief power is to create. He creates animals and plants and humans according to his wishes. Now we are gaining this power to create life, just like God. And in a way, we even go beyond the biblical God. Because even if you believe the Bible, the only thing God managed to create are organic beings. All these trees and giraffes and humans, they are just organic. But we are now trying to create inorganic entities, inorganic life forms, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, and so forth. If we succeed, and there is a very good chance we will, then very soon we will be beyond the God of the Bible.
Now, obviously, he and all of his little companions, the Weffers, these guys here, and all the other controllers around the planet, these people are completely ignorant. They think it's all about being beyond the God of the Bible or beyond God. No, there's no such thing as beyond God. See, they don't even understand what is running their brains because it's not them, it's something else. They have no clue what is going on. So this phenomenon is incredibly destructive. So what we have in the simplest way, the manifestation of AI is an attempt to counter the creator's creation with something fake, with something artificial, with something synthetic. I don't know the exact definition of synthetic, but I think it's pretty close to the definition of artificial. Artificial is not real, fake. That's the literal definition of it. It's like a masquerade. So I think you could even say that a synthetic version of something is also not the real version. It's a synthetic version. For example, they want to make synthetic food instead of real food. You see what I mean? That's right up there with AI. Now, let's just pause for a minute. I think we can all see from what Mr. Snake just said in his very own words, is that they have no use for biological life, which they like to call organic life. They have no use for anything carbon-based. They only want silicone-based. And then when you look at the deeper motive behind it all, which is to resist the creator, to resist the creation of the creator, some big fat puzzle pieces start to fall into place about why these controllers behave the way they do, why they're doing the stuff they're doing, and why they seem to hate more and more, or express dislike, despisement more and more for the natural manifestation of nature on planet Earth. I've been thinking about the words climate change a lot, and I'm thinking, what the heck? What is that? What is that? Because they say we must do these things because of climate change, right? So I was thinking about it and I thought, like we must stop growing food because of climate change. We must get rid of some animals because of that. We must get rid of lots of things, weather, right? We must get rid of biological stuff because of, I got to think of a word for that, CC. Should I use the initials maybe? What happens if you invert those two words? Do they actually want to change the climate of Earth? Is that the real because behind those two words? Because of this action that we intend to take. Now, these guys probably have no clue what they're talking about. Honestly, these controllers, I really don't think they even know what they're talking about. I think they have their own set of beliefs, all of which are false, all of which are erroneous. But I think the real truth behind it is all about AI. This would explain their destruction of the Earth, their modern day destructive technologies, complete openness to nuclear war. No problem, we can do that, no big deal. These are not people that care about the Earth's biosphere. That's pretty obvious. So I have to wonder, because AI is really the alien force behind all of this stuff, I have to wonder if they, or whatever is behind them, would be totally fine stripping the planet bare of all of this messy biological life. I mean, it's just so messy, you know, it's so unpredictable, it's so uncontrollable, it's kind of like all the species on Earth, it's, you know, they're all so unified. They're all so, I mean, let's just step back from this incredible paradise for a moment of natural Earth. What an incredible place. How in the world do you have such, oh my goodness, these ecosystems of trees and plants? It is endless how beautiful it is. The oceans, all of it. And somehow, all of it just continues to coexist. And there's no managers, there's no governments in nature. I mean, the only governments are human, right? Because we're just complete controlled slaves, I guess. Slaves here to build AI and build the infrastructure and all of that. But yeah, you know, AI is all about separation, division, control, substitution for nature. So it might be that this entire planetary realm is really offensive to this thing. And it would rather have Earth be an environment to its liking. That's one possibility. Maybe it really does want to eliminate biological life. And this goes all the way back to what I've shared with you guys a number of times. These engineers and scientists that I heard in a lecture back in 2000 in New Mexico, who were some of the originators of artificial life, who literally said there's going to be two species on planet Earth: biological carbon-based life and synthetic artificial life. Synthetic artificial life is going to be superior in intelligence to biological life and could wipe out all of biological life. And their whole discussion, if you remember my story from before, I'm not going to tell it again here, but their whole discussion was which species, which life form is going to survive. Because to them, it didn't look so good for carbon-based life, because this synthetic life was more likely to take over and render the whole thing extinct. But that's kind of what we see right now, isn't it? We kind of see that trajectory right now. And this would explain why they have no problem with a giant war that wrecks the whole planet. Now, let me bring up one other thing. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is clearly into this whole AI. He is instrumental in creating it. However, these are some of the puzzle pieces that I think are falling into place. He's obsessed with Mars, and he has said why. Because he wants to preserve our human species. He said bad things could happen on Earth, and he knows exactly what they are, I'm certain. Bad things could happen on Earth, and we really ought to preserve some of the species. I think Elon Musk wants to be like Noah's Ark for planet Earth. You know how the story of Noah's Ark, well, let's take 2 of each species so the whole planet doesn't die off and we can maintain life after the flood. Well, I think he kind of wants to be Mr. Space Noah's Ark. He wants to take humans, maybe some plants, who knows, on a spaceship to Mars and preserve our species because we are a valuable species. Can you just imagine the conversations that would go on off planet somewhere by these crazy people? You know, human species is really a good species. We really should preserve some of it. We don't want to get rid of all of it. We should just take some of it to Mars. And you guys remember the little video clip I played for you in my last video, which is right here if you want to go check it out if you missed it. The video clip of Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT and all these GPTs, AIs, who said AI will probably lead to the end of the world. But that's okay because great companies will be created in the process. What does that actually mean? What is the nature of his company? His company is the production house for AI, correct? So is that why it doesn't matter if it's the end of the world as long as you have these production houses to produce the new artificial kingdom on planet Earth, specifically designed for artificial life? It's all starting to come together in some very strange ways that these people know exactly what's going on. I think they all think they're going to either, well, I think maybe they were hoping they could go off planet for a while, but maybe, I think they do. I don't know why I'm waving this pen around to you guys. I think they thought they would maybe be able to go off planet if necessary, or underground. Maybe they could live underground for a while until all of the dust settles. Then they could come out because, oh, this is the part I almost forgot. They have been told that they are going to be able to bypass evolution. They won't have to worry about natural evolution anymore. They will have a synthetic body that is so advanced, so they say, they won't need to evolve. This is real, you guys. This is absolutely real. They have been trying to figure out how to get a human soul into an artificial container, body, what have you, for decades. Well, no, that's another story. I'm going to save that for later because I'm going to go off on too many tangents here. But this is real. They really mean this. One of the roboticists that I met in New Mexico said that this is true. He said, I know who's behind it, and they have unlimited funds to do it. Meaning, to put a human soul in a synthetic body. So this is what they want to do. This is how they think they're going to come out of this situation. I don't think that's what's going to happen at all. But if it works for them to believe that and be the minions of this thing, well, I guess that's their decision. So everything that I've described to you so far is the main path for the planet itself, that the controllers, AI, everything behind them, that is the path they fully intend to take the Earth on. They clearly want to take the Earth off of its natural path of evolution and make it a planet that seeds AI, so that AI can go off into the universe and spread. It already has done that from other locations, but this is just another one of the same scenarios. So that is the path that the controllers are on with planet Earth. It's all about the planet. It's not about us, not about biological life. They don't have any use for any of this stuff anymore. It's really about what they want to do with the planet itself. I don't think all the controllers have this in mind. I think they all have various scenarios that they're living in, thinking that they think are going to unfold. But I think this is my theory that I told you guys about at the beginning. I think this is probably at the root of the path that they're trying to shift this planet into. So that's one possible path. What's the other one? The other path is that the whole thing fails. It doesn't work out. Things don't go the way they wanted. A lot of destruction happens in the process, but nonetheless, biological life survives, AI fails, and everything recovers over who knows how many thousands of years it would take. I don't know, because it depends on what crazy things they do. So that's where our planet currently is. Now, there could be a third path. There could be, but that would depend on human beings. And I really had hope that somehow an awakening humanity could put an end to this. And it's still possible. I'm not going to write that off. They could really mess things up. AI will not be able to get a foothold here. It will not be able to spread into the galaxy from this planet. And yeah, it could just fail. And Earth could recover over a long period of time and come back. Many of her species could come back. Humanity could be restored. There's a lot of potentials in that way as well. The reason I said there are two paths, when there could be three, is because the two paths I mentioned so far are the most prominent possibilities at this particular time. Now, with all of that said, that's the current state of planet Earth. Things can always change, but we need to deal with the reality that we're in right now, because this is where we are. Otherwise, we're just living on fantasy and hope, which is not going to help us at all in the universe. So with all that said, we human beings also have two paths on this planet and also in the universe. We have the path of consciousness, and we also have the path of unconsciousness. So let me explain to you what that actually means. Let's go back to what I said about the phenomenon, the I am not. That is parasitic. It is an energy that it's vampiric. It takes energy. When you get yourself aligned with any of that stuff, whether you do it knowingly or unknowingly, whether you do it because you consciously want to go in that direction or you just kind of fall in with the crowd, you are literally having your energy and your consciousness taken from you. Thus, you start to go unconscious. You become less conscious, because that's what AI does. It makes people less conscious, less connected to each other. AI is a substitute for our human capabilities. That's what it's built for. It's built to take over our human capabilities. I don't know why that doesn't bother people. So it is taking from our medium of life, which we are given on the natural earth, where we are allowed to express our human capabilities, to develop them, to expand them, and to contribute Instead, AI wants to take that away from us. Thus, we become more and more unconscious. Not conscious. I am not. See the connection? On the other hand, there is the path of consciousness. That would be the path of ascension. That would be the path of expansion of consciousness, where we become more of who we are instead of less of who we are. Do you see that contrast? Isn't that fascinating? AI wants to make us less of who we are. It wants to take over our human functions on planet Earth. Get it? It wants to reduce us to basically nothing but like a soul battery or something. So we want to become more of who we are. So how do we do that? Because we cannot rely on this situation, because this planet is, I've just laid it all out for you where it is right now. How do we become more of who we are in this situation? It depends on what we align ourselves with. It depends on what we choose to be in resonance with. See, resonance is so vitally important. Resonance is the state of your vibration. The more you fall prey to AI and all of its shiny objects, the more you invite it into your life, into your world, the more you are going to be in resonance with it. The more you are going to come into resonance with less and less consciousness. So we want to be in resonance with what is true and real and infinite and love. And the great thing is, you guys, it's not out here. It's within us. This is the secret that so many people don't really understand. They don't understand it because of religion, because all the religions have said, God's out there. You want to talk to God, look up at the sky. And that's what we do, right? We pray to the sky. Oh, dear God, right? God's not in the sky. It's inside of you. It was built in so that you are protected, so that you always have access as long as you exist on this planet. No one can take that from you. I find it really interesting. I think about a lot of the symbology of things. This is how we place our hands in prayer, right? Now, you could take that a number of ways. You could say, okay, we have our hands over our heart. Our fingers are pointed upwards. Our energy is pointed upwards. That could signify seeking a higher level of consciousness, seeking a higher vibration. It could signify that. But it could also signify God's up there. That's why my fingers point up, because I'm praying to God up in the sky. Anyway, I just find that kind of interesting, because God is within you, within your heart. It is the source of you. It is what keeps you alive. It is what creates you every single moment of now. It's not out here. We don't have to look out here. We have to go within and find the truth of who we are. And when we align with that, now this is actually the exciting part of this whole grand situation that we're in right now. The exciting part is when you understand this, you will also understand how amazing it is to evolve. What an amazing opportunity you have to evolve as a being, to become more of who you are in the universe, and not to be ruined by what's going on this planet, because this is just one tiny planet. You guys, think about it. Put it in perspective. It looks big because our relative size to the planet we're on looks pretty small, right? But in space, even in physical space, this planet is tiny. It's a little speck of dust. You can't even see it. If you get too far back, you can't see it at all. I'm not really sure, but I'm betting you wouldn't even have to go outside of the solar system very far before it would disappear. I mean, hey, do you see the planets around those other stars that we see up in the sky at night? No, you don't see them. They're too little. The planets are tiny compared to the vastness of the cosmos. So let's not be foolish enough to think that whatever happens on Earth is the beginning and the end of all that ever was and all that ever will be. Because it's not. There's an entire universe. There are multiple dimensions of reality and experiences. There is so much more than just what's happening here. It doesn't mean we don't love Earth. It doesn't mean we don't consider it sacred in our time here to be absolutely sacred and necessary and meaningful and important. This is in no way to diminish us here. It's in no way to diminish planet Earth. I'm just suggesting we need to have a much broader perspective so that we can stay calm, we can stay peaceful, we can stay aware and awake, and we can continue our evolution. Because sometimes I think I need to do a whole video on the human body and what an amazing thing we have in our bodies. Because our physical vehicles are made for evolution. We are designed for it. And to let AI steal that from us is just so outrageous. It really is. We should not do that. We should consider ourselves a treasure. Each of us as individuals. Because there is so much for you to explore and understand and learn and know and evolve into, starting today, starting right now. The most amazing adventure and experience you could ever even hope to have. So we're not actually trapped in this earthly situation. I know it feels like we're trapped. I know it looks like we're trapped, but we're actually not. And it's important to be aware and conscious of what is going on so that you're not caught by surprise. The worst thing that could ever happen is to be caught by surprise by all of the nefarious antics of these controllers. Would you like to know why? Would you like to know why that's a bad idea? If you put your head in the sand and you say, I don't want to know anything, don't even talk about this stuff, this is all, I don't want to think about it. If you put your head in the sand and you become unconscious about the environment we are in on planet Earth, and these controllers pull something else really crazy, you could find yourself in a fear-based reaction of terror, of fear, of whatever, that's going to throw you into your reptilian brain. That's another thing that's up for a lot of questions. If you ask me, why do we have that? We don't need that, but yet we have it. That's a whole other story, right? But you could be thrown into such a state of paralysis where you can't think, you don't make good decisions, you completely lose your way. You can't even hope to remember who you are because you have no foundation to even know what that means anymore. Because you're relying too much on the outer circumstances to tell you how to react. So this is why I like to share what I share. Because I like to share what I share so you guys can have perspective. You can have your presence in the universe in perspective. You can remain calm. You can be inspired. You can continue with your journey in the universe. I mean, think about how amazing an opportunity we have to continue on this evolutionary path, even in spite of all this craziness. I mean, that is empowerment, you guys. That's the opportunity that we all have. So I want to encourage you to go within, find that source within you, that source, that creator, that love, that light, to fill you and inspire you and empower you. And then practice the art of manifestation. Practice the art of creating your life. There's so many things that we have yet to learn, that we have yet to try. And we need to be able to do this as individuals. I don't recommend that you wait around for a whole bunch of spiritual people to figure everything out, and somehow things will come together, and hopefully I'll figure it out, and I don't know. Don't do that. Get centered, get grounded, get anchored in the truth right now. Don't wait. And then just stay focused on your journey in the universe. And as long as you stay anchored in that love within, that light within, that true creator, it's within you because it's what's keeping you alive. It's what's creating you right now. Get really close to that. Get really awake to that. And then you might actually come out of this whole situation in the most amazing of ways. That might just be like, for you, the most fulfilling, empowering, incredible experience you could have ever even imagined. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would want to hear this message. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you all so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.